Hello friends. What happens when the analytical quiet storm of a Virgo man meets the magnetic emotional depth of a Scorpio woman? Is this the cosmic equation for a lifelong bond, or a recipe for intensity that only the brave can handle? As we explore their chemistry, emotional world, and long-term potential, every question you've ever had about this pairing will unfold one by one, revealing whether these two signs are destined to transform each other, or challenge each other in ways they never saw coming. After watching, if you'd like to support the channel, click the Thanks button right under this video or use the donation alerts link in the description. Your support really helps me keep creating. And of course, if you enjoy the content, please give it a like and subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. Thanks so much for being here. Now let's continue. Chemistry. Initial attraction. Why is the initial attraction between a Virgo man and a Scorpio woman so strong, almost unexplainably intense? The answer begins with contrast, but the story quickly expands into layers of psychological curiosity, subtle tension, and a magnetic pull that feels fated even when neither of them believes in fate. The Virgo man, shaped by Mercury's cool precision, moves through life with a quiet sort of brilliance, one that never demands attention but naturally earns it. He carries himself with understated elegance, grounded logic, and an inner steadiness that suggests he thinks before he speaks, listens before he judges, and observes before he decides. His presence feels like walking into a calm, bright room after a long day, gentle, refreshing, and full of clarity. He has an energy that says "I know who I am," without a hint of arrogance. This subtle confidence is exactly what draws the Scorpio woman in. She notices things others miss, and what she sees in him is far more than politeness or intelligence. She sees a man whose mind moves like a well-tuned instrument, carefully, thoughtfully, purposefully. She senses competence, she senses depth, and most importantly, she senses honesty. To a Scorpio woman, honesty is a rare commodity, and when she feels it, even in the smallest gesture, her intrigue ignites instantly. She is not attracted to the superficial, the noisy, or the flashy. She is attracted to what is real, what is solid, what is quietly powerful. And Virgo embodies all three. But what captures the Virgo man's attention in return? Her aura, distinctive, enigmatic, quietly intense. The Scorpio woman rarely enters a room loudly, she enters with presence. Her energy feels like a puzzle wrapped in intuition, confidence, and emotional gravity. Virgo notices her before he tries to, caught not by appearance alone but by the atmosphere she carries with her, as though she knows something no one else does. Her eyes reveal awareness, her posture radiates quiet certainty, her silence speaks louder than other people's speeches. She doesn't demand attention, she attracts it naturally, effortlessly, irresistibly. To a Virgo man, who's used to reading people carefully and often being unimpressed, her energy feels like a challenge he wants to solve but can't fully decode. And that is exactly what fascinates him. She awakens his curiosity, not the surface-level kind, but the deep analytical pull he only feels when something truly matters. He starts paying attention before he's conscious of doing it. That is the beginning of their spark. So what makes this early connection so powerful? Their differences don't clash, they complement. Virgo's realism, logic, and grounded nature don't mute Scorpio's intensity, they stabilize it. And her emotional depth doesn't overwhelm his careful mind, it expands it. She brings depth to his clarity, he brings clarity to her depth. Together, they create a balance that neither expected but both feel instantly. Her mysterious nature offers him something he secretly craves. A challenge that is emotional, psychological, and intellectual all at once. She is not a puzzle he can solve with quick analysis or logical predictions. She is layered, instinctive, intuitive, and profound. Her presence sparks questions he wants answers to, not because he doubts her, but because he wants to understand her. And for Virgo, understanding is a form of connection. Meanwhile, his steadiness offers her something she rarely encounters. A sense of safety that doesn't feel dull, passive, or predictable. Virgo's stability is active, attentive, and full of intention. He notices details about her emotions, her reactions, her silence. He pays attention not because he's trying to impress her, but because that's who he is, and she finds that authenticity deeply reassuring. With him, she doesn't feel the need to armor herself or test loyalty through intensity. His calm becomes a place where her fire can burn without fear of consuming everything around it. This balance makes their spark unusual. It's not impulsive, it's not chaotic, it's not superficial. Instead, it builds slowly, layer by layer, observation by observation, glance by glance. The connection feels like a long conversation in a quiet room, the kind where every sentence deepens the atmosphere. It's steady, almost serene on the surface, but beneath that serenity is a powerful undercurrent neither can ignore. Their first spark isn't loud or wild, it's the kind of connection that begins quietly and then deepens with every heartbeat. It's curiosity turning into fascination, fascination turning into admiration, admiration turning into a pull so natural they barely notice it happening until it's already there, strong and undeniable. This is why their chemistry feels different from what they experience with others. It isn't based on impulse or surface attraction, it's rooted in recognition. The Virgo man recognizes something rare in the Scorpio woman: depth, authenticity, resilience, and emotional intelligence. And she recognizes something equally rare in him: stability, integrity, intellectual clarity, and sincerity. This mutual recognition becomes the foundation of their initial attraction. It creates a connection that feels grounded yet electrifying, calm yet charged with possibility. It's the kind of beginning that promises more, not through loud declarations, but through a quiet certainty neither can explain but both immediately feel. And that is why, from the very first moment, the chemistry between a Virgo man and a Scorpio woman grows, not in sudden sparks, but in deepening intensity, unfolding steadily, quietly, and powerfully, like a story that was always meant to be written, just waiting for the right moment to begin. Emotional dynamics. What happens emotionally when these two connect on a deeper level? The answer is far more intricate than a simple meeting of minds or hearts. It's the merging of two emotional languages that appear contradictory at first but ultimately form a powerful, transformative bond. Scorpio lives in the world of depth. She feels emotions the way an ocean experiences storms, fully, intensely, without hesitation. Her emotional life is profound, layered, and textured with intuition. When she loves with her entire being, not in fragments. She seeks truth, loyalty, transparency, and commitment that feels absolute. She does not fear emotional shadows, she explores them. She does not shy away from vulnerability, she studies it. She does not merely feel, she immerses. Virgo, however, experiences his emotions as a carefully navigated landscape. He is not cold, nor detached. He simply processes his internal world through a lens of understanding first, expression second. He wants to make sense of feelings so he can handle them responsibly. He prefers stability over emotional turbulence, clarity over ambiguity, and reflection over impulsive reaction. His emotional landscape is more like a garden than an ocean, organized, intentional, tended with care. When something disturbs that garden, he observes quietly before acting, hoping to choose responses that maintain harmony. So how do these two emotional worlds ever meet in the middle? It begins with curiosity. Virgo becomes intrigued by Scorpio's depth. Her willingness to feel fully challenges him to explore the parts of himself he usually keeps neatly contained. Meanwhile, Scorpio is drawn to Virgo's reliability. His thoughtful approach gives her a sense of emotional safety she rarely feels with others, safety she didn't even know she needed. At first, Virgo might feel overwhelmed. The intensity of Scorpio's emotional presence can make him question himself: am I enough for her? Can I meet her emotional expectations? Will she think I'm too reserved? He may worry that he lacks the depth she craves, misunderstanding the nature of what she seeks. Scorpio does not want perfection, she wants truth. She wants a partner who shows up consistently, who doesn't disappear when emotions become complex, who values honesty the way she does. And Virgo excels at consistency. He might not always be overflowing with dramatic emotional displays, but he is steady, loyal, and present. These qualities, over time, prove far more valuable to her than intensity for its own sake. Meanwhile, Scorpio learns something she rarely experiences: the feeling of being gently guided toward emotional balance. Virgo does not calm her by suppressing her emotions, he calms her by helping her understand them. His grounded nature shows her that emotions do not always demand immediate action. She can pause without losing passion, breathe without losing depth, reflect without losing authenticity. With him, she discovers new layers of emotional patience, an internal quiet she didn't realize she could access. Virgo, in turn, discovers how much more profound his emotional world can be. Scorpio encourages him to speak his feelings aloud rather than just analyze them silently. She teaches him that expressing vulnerability does not disrupt stability, it strengthens connection. Her presence gives him permission to explore parts of himself he rarely shares. Over time, he learns to stop filtering every feeling through logic and trust his emotional instincts more. This emotional exchange is not one-sided, it's mutual growth. Each partner offers exactly what the other lacks, not because they try to change each other, but because their strengths naturally inspire evolution. Scorpio becomes softer, more patient, more centered. Virgo becomes more open, more intuitive, more emotionally connected. Their bond becomes a living space where both can grow without losing themselves. What makes their emotional bond so unique is not just the balance they create, but the way they transform each other in the process. They do not meet in a perfect middle point, they build a shared emotional language neither had before. A space where Scorpio's depth finds grounding, and Virgo's logic finds heart. A space built on understanding, honesty, trust, and mutual respect. A space where both partners feel fully seen, fully safe, and fully valued. In the end, their emotional connection becomes one of their strongest foundations. It's not dramatic, chaotic, or volatile, it's transformative. It enriches them both, it deepens their communication, it strengthens their commitment, and it creates a bond that feels not only meaningful but also necessary, as though each of them was missing a part of themselves before the other arrived. Long-term compatibility. Could this combination truly last for years, or even a lifetime? The deeper you look into the Virgo man-Scorpio woman dynamic, the clearer it becomes that their potential for long-term love is not only strong, it's unusually durable. Everything about their emotional design, their priorities, their values, and their inner rhythms points toward a partnership that grows richer over time rather than fading. But this longevity isn't rooted in simple harmony, it's rooted in commitment, one of the most powerful traits they unexpectedly share, even though they express it differently. A Virgo man in love is quietly devoted. His love is not dramatic or showy, it's stable, consistent, practical, and deeply reliable. He demonstrates affection through service, through support, through thoughtful actions that prove he's invested in his partner's well-being. Loyalty for him is a natural extension of trust, and once he commits, he doesn't waver. He doesn't promise lightly, but when he does promise, he means every word. A Scorpio woman feels this sincerity immediately, and it speaks directly to her core values. A Scorpio woman in love is fierce in the most meaningful sense of the word. Her devotion runs to the bone. She protects the relationship, cherishes it, invests in it emotionally, spiritually, and even intuitively. Her loyalty is unwavering, not because she feels obligated, but because she sees the relationship as sacred. Her passion creates warmth, depth, and a sense of emotional gravity that gives the bond intense vitality. Virgo recognizes this and respects it. To him, her loyalty is not overwhelming, it's reassuring. Both of them view long-term relationships not as a casual possibility but as a serious, deeply personal commitment. Neither is interested in temporary connections or surface-level interactions. Both value trust. Both value emotional truth. Both value stability, consistency, and loyalty. They do not enter long-term relationships lightly, and because of that, they rarely abandon them lightly either. When they choose each other, it's because they see real potential for growth, for partnership, for emotional evolution, and for building a shared life. Their long-term success thrives on their complementary strengths. Virgo brings structure, planning, organization, and reliability. He is the one who helps create order from chaos, who builds routines that nurture rather than restrict, who takes responsibility seriously. Whether it's planning finances, solving problems, or keeping the relationship running smoothly, Virgo is the steady architect of stability. Scorpio brings emotional depth, resilience, intuition, and unwavering loyalty. She gives the relationship its emotional richness, its sense of purpose, its emotional gravity, its sense of meaning that transcends the everyday. She helps Virgo tap into aspects of life he might otherwise overlook: the emotional undercurrents, the spiritual connections, the transformative moments that shape growth. Her resilience strengthens the relationship during difficult times, helping both partners weather challenges that might break other couples. Together, they create a relationship that feels like a fortress, strong, resilient, private, and built to last. It's not a relationship full of dramatic breakdowns or explosive arguments. Rather, it's fortified by their shared desire for safety, loyalty, and mutual respect. They protect their bond fiercely. They nurture it quietly. They grow it steadily. What they build together is meant to endure. But what challenges might they face in the long run? Even the strongest partnerships encounter friction, and this one is no exception. Virgo's tendency to overthink can sometimes clash with Scorpio's emotional intensity. Virgo analyzes. Scorpio feels deeply. When Scorpio experiences strong emotions, Virgo may retreat into logic, trying to understand rather than react. This can make Scorpio feel misunderstood or dismissed. On the other hand, Scorpio's emotional storms, while meaningful and rooted in genuine depth, can overwhelm Virgo's carefully built sense of internal order. Her passion can feel like a force of nature he's unprepared to navigate. Additionally, Scorpio's desire for emotional closeness can at times feel intense to Virgo, who needs moments of quiet reflection to process his feelings. Virgo's need for space isn't rejection, but Scorpio may interpret it that way if communication isn't clear. These misunderstandings are not deal breakers, but they are patterns that require awareness, patience, and mutual respect. Their key to long-term success lies in understanding each other's rhythms, and accepting that they balance each other for a reason. Virgo must learn that emotions cannot always be analyzed like equations. Scorpio must learn that logic is not emotional detachment. Virgo must be willing to step into emotional waters, even when they feel deep. Scorpio must be willing to give him space when he needs it, without interpreting it as distance. When they learn to interpret each other's emotional signals accurately, harmony becomes natural. Communication becomes the bridge that turns potential challenges into opportunities for growth. Virgo, with his thoughtful approach, learns how to explain his inner world calmly and clearly. Scorpio, with her intuitive emotional intelligence, learns how to express her needs in ways that don't overwhelm but still convey depth. As long as both listen and adjust, they don't drift apart, they grow closer. When they do find this balance, their bond becomes one of the strongest in the zodiac, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and practically. It's a relationship built to endure the ebb and flow of life's unpredictability. It evolves, deepens, strengthens, and adapts. And because both partners are naturally loyal and dedicated, their long-term compatibility doesn't just survive time, it thrives within it, becoming richer and more meaningful with each passing year. Communication conflict resolution. How do they communicate when tensions rise? The answer unfolds in a complex, layered dance between intellect and emotion, two forces that seem to clash at first, but ultimately create a stronger bond once the rhythm is understood. Virgo approaches communication with logic, clarity, and a desire to understand the situation from every angle before responding. He prefers facts over assumptions, structure over emotional turbulence, and thoughtful pauses over impulsive reactions. When conflict appears, he instinctively shifts into analysis mode, reviewing each detail, considering outcomes, and searching for the most rational path toward resolution. To him, clarity is compassion. Calmness is respect. Precision is care. Scorpio, on the other hand, communicates through emotional truth. Her feelings are not random impulses. They are deeply rooted instincts shaped by perception, intuition, and the ability to sense what others often miss. She values honesty, not the polite, softened version of it, but the real kind that acknowledges every layer of emotion involved. When tension rises, she wants depth, sincerity, and emotional presence. She wants to feel her partner's engagement, not just hear his logic. Her directness comes from passion, not impatience. Her intensity comes from wanting the connection to remain real and meaningful. She speaks from her heart because she believes emotional authenticity strengthens relationships rather than destabilizes them. At first glance, their two styles might appear mismatched. Virgo's calm precision could seem detached to Scorpio. Scorpio's emotional intensity could feel overwhelming to Virgo. But this contrast is actually an opportunity for profound growth. Their communication differences are not obstacles, they're complementary strengths that, when combined, create a balanced and powerful dynamic. Virgo's style is calm, measured, and solution-oriented. He avoids drama not because he lacks emotion, but because he wants to prevent unnecessary escalation. He believes that clarity is the key to harmony and that careful thought leads to healthier outcomes. When he speaks, his goal is not to win but to understand and resolve. His patience is intentional, his reasoning is steady, his desire to bring clarity is genuine. But if he moves too quickly into fixing mode, Scorpio may interpret it as dismissal of her emotional experience. Scorpio's style is passionate, direct, and driven by intuition. She desires emotional acknowledgement above all. She wants to know that her feelings matter, that they are heard, and that they are met with sincerity. She seeks emotional truth, even when it's difficult, because she believes that deep connections are forged through vulnerability. Her directness is a sign of trust. Her intensity is a sign of investment. But if she expresses herself too quickly, Virgo may feel overwhelmed or unsure how to respond in a way that satisfies both logic and emotional need. So how do they avoid misunderstandings? The secret lies in pacing, an emotional rhythm both partners must learn and honor. Scorpio needs to feel heard deeply and sincerely. She needs emotional acknowledgement before any solution is presented. If Virgo listens fully, without immediately analyzing or attempting to resolve, she relaxes. She softens, she feels respected, she feels valued, and once she feels understood, she becomes more receptive to logic, clarity, and practical solutions. On the other side, Virgo needs space to process. He needs a moment to gather his thoughts, to organize his feelings, and to express them in a way that feels grounded and authentic. When he explains his perspective patiently and calmly, Scorpio begins to see his silence not as emotional distance, but as careful consideration. She realizes he is not withdrawing, he is preparing to respond thoughtfully. This understanding shifts everything. Together, they begin to learn that communication is not a battle between logic and emotion, it's a partnership where both are essential. Scorpio introduces emotional depth that Virgo might otherwise avoid. Virgo introduces structure and clarity that Scorpio appreciates more than she initially realizes. They form a communication style that blends reason with emotion, logic with intuition, clarity with depth. When conflicts arise, they don't resolve them by overpowering each other. They resolve them by blending their strengths. Virgo grounds the intensity, Scorpio enriches the logic. Virgo slows the storm, Scorpio adds meaning to the calm. Over time, they learn how to interpret each other's signals. Virgo notices when Scorpio needs reassurance instead of explanations. Scorpio notices when Virgo needs silence instead of immediacy. They begin to understand each other's emotional cues as clearly as their own. The more they practice this, the smoother their communication becomes. Tension no longer feels like a threat, it becomes a doorway to deeper connection. Disagreements become opportunities to strengthen trust. Emotional conversations become safer for Virgo, and logical discussions become more meaningful for Scorpio. They learn to respect the differences in their styles and see them as complementary tools rather than opposing forces. Ultimately, their conflict resolution becomes one of the strongest aspects of their relationship, not because they never disagree, but because they grow through every disagreement. They create a communication dynamic that is mature, balanced, and deeply supportive. Virgo learns emotional presence. Scorpio learns emotional pacing. Together, they form a partnership that thrives not despite their differences, but because of them. Physical intimate connection. When Virgo and Scorpio connect physically, what makes their bond so unique? The answer lies not in intensity for its own sake, but in the emotional and psychological layers that support every moment of closeness between them. Their physical relationship isn't defined by impulsive urges or fleeting excitement. It is built slowly, thoughtfully, and with a level of emotional awareness that turns even simple gestures of affection into something meaningful and lasting. Scorpio brings depth, passion, and emotional intensity, but not in a way that overwhelms or destabilizes. Instead, she brings presence, a full attention to the moment, a sincerity in connection, and an emotional richness that allows Virgo to feel genuinely wanted, appreciated, and understood. Her approach to closeness is never superficial. It is anchored in her desire to bond deeply, to feel emotionally aligned, and to build trust that goes beyond words. Virgo, in turn, brings attentiveness, sensitivity, and a true desire to understand what makes his partner feel cared for and emotionally supported. He pays attention to details: her mood, her comfort, her reactions, the unspoken signals she expresses without even realizing it. His natural awareness transforms physical closeness into an act of care. He is thoughtful, present, and considerate. With him, affection does not feel rushed or careless. It feels deliberate, meaningful, and rooted in emotional connection. He does not take her intensity lightly. He treats it with respect and sincerity. Their intimate lives become a place of trust, closeness, and transformation, not because of intensity alone, but because they allow emotional honesty to guide physical connection. Virgo, who may initially hesitate to express deeper feelings, finds in Scorpio a partner who encourages emotional openness through warmth and patience. She helps him recognize that closeness is not simply a physical act. It is an emotional experience that can strengthen trust, deepen communication, and help both partners understand each other on a level that words alone cannot reach. Scorpio opens Virgo to deeper emotional connection by creating a space where vulnerability is safe. She doesn't expect him to be someone he isn't. She simply encourages him to share more of himself, step by step, with reassurance rather than pressure. Over time, Virgo begins to understand that emotional intimacy enriches every other aspect of their bond. He becomes more expressive, more confident in sharing his feelings, and more attuned to the emotional exchange that naturally accompanies closeness. Virgo, in return, offers Scorpio something equally valuable: safety. He helps her feel valued not just for her intensity or passion, but for her emotional depth, her loyalty, her sincerity, and her ability to connect profoundly with another person. With him, she feels seen for who she truly is, not only for her strong emotions, but for her softness, her dreams, her hopes, and her need for security. His steadiness gives her permission to relax, to trust, and to feel grounded in a way that strengthens every layer of their connection. Over time, their closeness becomes far more than a physical experience. It becomes a powerful emotional dialogue, a form of communication that reinforces their bond on a daily basis. They learn to read each other's moods, respond to each other's needs, and support each other in ways that create harmony not only in moments of affection, but in their entire relationship. Their connection acts as a bridge between their emotional worlds, Virgo's thoughtful calm and Scorpio's passionate depth. Through this bridge, they meet in the center, creating a shared emotional space where vulnerability becomes strength, and trust becomes the foundation of everything they build together. What makes their connection even more unique is that it's never impulsive or shallow. Instead, it's slow-burning, steady, and infused with meaning. They don't rush their bond or take it for granted, they cultivate it. They deepen it intentionally, they grow it gradually. Every step of their intimate relationship feels like part of a journey toward greater understanding, stronger trust, and a more unified emotional landscape. Their physical and emotional closeness becomes a part of their identity as a couple, something private, profound, and deeply personal. It supports them during challenges, strengthens their communication, and enhances their long-term compatibility. Virgo feels emotionally enriched, Scorpio feels emotionally grounded. Together, they create a connection that is both gentle and powerful, steady and transformative, meaningful and enduring. This is why, for Virgo and Scorpio, physical closeness becomes one of the most important threads in the fabric of their relationship, woven with care, strengthened with time, and cherished with sincerity. Shared values, life goals. What shared values bring them together long-term? To understand why a Virgo man and a Scorpio woman can create such a powerful, enduring partnership, you have to look beyond their surface differences and focus on the deeper principles that guide how they love, commit, and build a future. Beneath their contrasting styles, Virgo's calm logic and Scorpio's emotional depth, lies a remarkable alignment in what they believe truly matters in a relationship and in life. These values form the blueprint of their long-term compatibility and become the invisible threads that keep them connected even when challenges arise. Both Virgo and Scorpio value loyalty on a core level. Loyalty, to them, is not simply about staying together, it is about choosing each other again and again through honesty, devotion, and emotional presence. Virgo expresses loyalty through consistent actions, steady support, and reliability that never wavers. Scorpio expresses loyalty through deep emotional commitment, dedication, and the instinct to protect what she cherishes. When these two recognize loyalty in each other, a profound trust begins to grow, one that forms the basis for a long-term bond that feels unshakable. Stability is another value they hold in common. Virgo finds comfort in structure, routine, and predictability, not because he fears change but because stability allows him to function at his best. Scorpio craves emotional stability, depth without chaos, passion without betrayal, intensity with grounding. Together, they create a form of stability that blends both worlds, a life where routines feel meaningful, where emotions feel safe, and where commitment feels natural. They don't chase temporary excitement, they build something they can rely on. Growth is also at the heart of their shared values. Neither sign is content with stagnation. Virgo seeks self-improvement through learning, planning, and practical achievement. Scorpio seeks evolution through emotional understanding, transformation, and inner strength. While their approaches differ, their goal is the same: to become better, wiser, more authentic versions of themselves. What makes them powerful as a couple is how they support each other's growth, Virgo helping Scorpio gain clarity and direction, and Scorpio helping Virgo expand emotionally and spiritually. They push each other not with pressure, but with encouragement, recognizing that growth is essential for a lasting relationship. Privacy is another major value they share, and it strengthens their bond in subtle yet meaningful ways. Virgo is naturally reserved. He doesn't broadcast his personal life or emotions freely. Scorpio guards her inner world fiercely, sharing it only with those she deeply trusts. Together, they create a relationship that feels like a sanctuary, quiet, protected, and deeply personal. They don't need external validation. They don't crave attention from the outside world. Their connection is something they keep close, valuing the intimacy and security that privacy creates. Deep emotional connection ties all these values together. Scorpio needs it to feel truly bonded. Virgo, though more reserved, discovers through Scorpio just how meaningful emotional closeness can be. They value conversations that matter, honesty that builds trust, and vulnerability that strengthens understanding. Even though they may express their emotions differently, both believe in the importance of feeling genuinely connected to their partner. This shared belief shapes everything from their communication to their long-term plans. They prefer meaningful relationships over surface-level connections, and this preference shows in the way they invest time and energy into building something real. Virgo wants a relationship that has depth and purpose. Scorpio wants a relationship that feels transformative and emotionally fulfilling. Both feel unsatisfied with shallow interactions. They want a partnership that challenges them, supports them, and elevates them. They care about improving themselves and supporting their partner's ambitions, seeing each other's success as shared success. Virgo focuses on practical progress, structuring goals, creating plans, and taking concrete steps toward a better future. Scorpio focuses on emotional and spiritual growth, understanding deeper motivations, healing old patterns, and evolving as a person. Together, they form a powerful team because they combine practicality with emotional wisdom. Where Virgo brings direction, Scorpio brings meaning. Where Virgo brings strategy, Scorpio brings motivation. This creates a balance that helps them navigate life's complexities with unity and purpose. Their life goals often align naturally. Both desire a secure home, not just in a physical sense but in an emotional one, a place where they can recharge, reflect, and connect without fear of judgment. A committed relationship is essential for both, because they view love as a long-term promise, not a fleeting experience. Meaningful pursuits matter deeply to them. Virgo wants to make a tangible impact. Scorpio wants to make a purposeful one. Together, they support each other's dreams with a mix of practicality and passion that makes achievements feel shared and fulfilling. And perhaps most importantly, they both have a strong desire to build something lasting. They are not the type of couple that drifts aimlessly or changes direction without thought. When they imagine the future, they imagine building it together, piece by piece, year by year, weaving their strengths into something stable, meaningful, and deeply personal. Their partnership becomes a long-term journey rooted in mutual respect, shared priorities, and a profound sense of emotional and practical compatibility. Final thoughts. So what truly defines the Virgo man-Scorpio woman love compatibility? The essence of their bond comes down to three core qualities that echo through every layer of their relationship: balance, growth, and depth. But these aren't abstract traits casually floating in the background. They are living forces shaping the way these two individuals meet, communicate, build trust, and ultimately evolve together. Their compatibility is not the result of effortless simplicity but of meaningful connection. It is forged through patience, understanding, shared values, and a kind of mutual respect that deepens rather than fades over time. Balance is the first defining element, though it unfolds quietly. Virgo brings clarity, logic, structure, and gentle steadiness. Scorpio brings emotion, intuition, passion, and transformative depth. At first glance, their differences seem stark, but it's precisely these contrasts that create harmony. Virgo softens Scorpio's intensity without diminishing it. Scorpio enriches Virgo's introspection without overwhelming him. They fill in the spaces that the other lacks, not to complete each other in a cliché sense, but to challenge each other in ways that bring out strengths neither could access alone. Their balance doesn't come from sameness. It comes from complementary forces working together with mutual pride and appreciation. Growth is the second defining feature, and perhaps the most transformative. Neither Virgo nor Scorpio is content with staying the same. They are wired for progress, Virgo through self-improvement and practical refinement, Scorpio through emotional evolution and inner discovery. When they come together, this shared drive becomes one of the strongest foundations of their relationship. Scorpio pushes Virgo to feel more deeply, to trust his emotional instincts, and to embrace vulnerability with courage. Virgo guides Scorpio toward reflection, patience, and grounded understanding. Through each other, they rise, not because they are trying to change the other, but because they inspire each other simply by being who they are. Growth becomes the natural rhythm of their connection. Depth is the final defining quality. While many relationships stay at the surface, the Virgo-Scorpio bond dives deep. Their conversations often explore meaning, intention, truth, and the interior landscape of emotions and motivations. Their trust is guarded yet intense. Their closeness feels private, intentional, and deeply personal. Neither sign is drawn to shallow connections, both crave authenticity. This shared desire for emotional richness creates an intimacy that feels rare, almost sacred. Their love doesn't rely on grand gestures or constant noise. It thrives in quiet moments where honesty flows freely and presence feels magnified. They challenge each other in ways that matter, not through conflict for its own sake, but through the kind of honest friction that leads to understanding. Virgo challenges Scorpio to see rationality in moments of emotional flooding. Scorpio challenges Virgo to stop hiding behind logic when his heart needs expression. These challenges aren't obstacles, they are opportunities. They strengthen each other in ways that last, creating a partnership rooted in mutual expansion rather than stagnation. Their connection isn't simple, but simplicity was never the goal. For Virgo and Scorpio, simplicity would be unfulfilling. They were built for depth, meaning, and a kind of emotional architecture that takes time and intention to construct. Their bond is one of the most rewarding in the zodiac when both partners commit to understanding and supporting one another. When they choose patience over assumptions, honesty over silence, and vulnerability over fear, their relationship becomes a place of profound emotional safety and intellectual companionship. And unlike relationships that demand constant attention or dramatic expression, their love story isn't loud or flashy. It doesn't need to be. It's powerful in its quietness, strengthened by its privacy, and deepened by every moment that feels genuinely shared. Their love is transformative, not in the sense of losing themselves in each other, but in the sense of revealing stronger, wiser, more grounded versions of who they already are. It's a connection built to last because it is rooted in truth, loyalty, trust, and a mutual desire to create something meaningful. In the end, the Virgo man-Scorpio woman relationship stands as one of those rare partnerships that blends emotional intensity with practical stability, mystery with clarity, passion with thoughtfulness. It grows slowly, intentionally, and with profound sincerity. It becomes a life-shaping bond, quiet but mighty, private but deeply felt, challenging yet rewarding in all the ways that count. Their love is not just a relationship, it is a journey of shared evolution, built to endure the test of time with unwavering strength.